do you have to have certain ducks in a row in your opinion, whether financially, emotionally? Uh, what's kind of your advice to guys who want to start this process as a young man? What should they have? What are the prerequisites for them?
Yeah. So in if you're gonna get married, there are things that depend on the match, and there are things that depend on you, right? Like, and you can't control some of the things about the match. Like, you don't know when it's gonna happen. You don't know which match you're gonna have. You don't know exactly what the other person's gonna be like. But
Hmm.
like you're saying, there are things that depend that are in you, like completely in your control, that you need to have ready, right? Like, so for example, you need to have a clear path for contributing financially to a home, to a marriage. I mean, um, and so it doesn't mean that at this specific moment, because some people they start relationships while they're in grad school or college or something, right? But it needs to be clear, right? Like, if you're just kind of not sure what you're going to do with your career, you're you don't have a plan to figure that out.
Hmm.
um you're not sure how much you're going to make, even rate like big ranges, you got to think about that. I'm not saying you like, you're not ready to start dating, but you just got to be really clear on that's definitely going to be a topic that comes up, and you can't avoid the financial realities of life. You just can't.
Hmm. Yeah.
Also, you got to be emotionally healthy. You got to be emotionally intelligent. Be aware of your emotions. Be aware of what things happened to you and your family of origin and your childhood, in your life. Who are you as a person? What are your passions? What are the things you value as a person? And what are some common issues that you have in your life? Where do you need to grow as a person? And are you like, what are the consequences of not growing in those areas? And do you have momentum in growth in those areas? Like, for example, if someone can't manage his anger, if someone is uh, you know so bitter about towards his parents, if someone is has an addiction, is struggling with a specific sin, and then of course having spiritual growth momentum, and you have to be doing that independently. That you like, I don't want to hear, my wife is going to take me to church, my wife is going to teach my kids about God. Like, no, man. You gotta be independent, and you
Right.
gotta have your relationship with God. You gotta be standing on your own 2 feet in everything. And because once we get into codependency, that is a major issue in relationships. Yeah.
Hmm. So I heard kind of like everything is kind of a path towards. You don't have to actually be there. That's kind of what I'm hearing from you. Like you don't have to be at that financially stable place, but you're on the way there to start. Or at least we're talking
Yeah,
about
there's a clear
starting.
path. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
we're
a
not
clear
talking
path.
about like when you're married. Of course, you should already be there,
Yeah, yeah.
at
I mean,
least
like,
financially.
yeah.
Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
yeah,
No, no,
I
I
don't.
agree with you. Like,
Yeah,
because what I'm trying to say is, like, let's say you graduate, you got a lot of debt, but you have a job. I mean,
right.
your net worth is negative, but
Hmm.
but you have income. You can carry on in life and keep
Or what if
going.
you're in high school? Like, what if you're in high school and like you know, you're a good kid, you go to church, you don't have any real childhood trauma that you're dealing with, and you plan to go to college, you plan to be a Bashmuhandis and
Yeah, I
or an
mean,
engineer, and that's it. So
if you're listening to this and you're
because
in high
because
school,
it's part of
yeah,
socialization as well, right?
right,
Dating.
right,
So
right. And I want to remind
that's why I don't want
everyone.
guys to start like at 28. Like I have to start when I'm all the way done with college
No,
and grad
no,
school, and
yeah,
like,
yeah.
so there's got to be a balance there. So
Yeah, yeah. And by the way, I just want to remind everyone that the socialization that's coming from society is producing a greater than 50% divorce rate. So that's what society is producing, right? So I
that's
just want
true,
everyone to just to
right?
keep that into perspective. Like,
Yeah.
if I just follow what society is telling me,
Hmm.
society's results are pretty bad. Like, their
Right.
society doesn't do a good job at healthy relationships.
Right.
So we gotta, like, do things differently.
Yeah.
Um,
I just
and
worry about those guys who don't get any of that socialization and then start later, and then they just have anxiety approaching women. They have anxiety, like they're just not good at it. They want to do it, but they're just not good at it because they have no practice. But
Yeah, I mean, practice
y-
is important,
I'm
but I
not
don't
saying
think it.
practice, yeah, in that kind
Yeah.
of sense, but
No,
they
I do
never.
think practice is
y-
important. It's
Yeah,
skills. Like
yeah.
you gotta learn how to approach
Right,
people,
right.
how to do
It's
small talk.
emotional
You
intelligence,
know?
like you're
Yeah,
saying, right? And you can't
yeah.
become emotionally intelligent with how to interact with girls unless you're interacting with girls, right?
Right.
You
I
can't read a
agree.
book on it. You could, but like it's not the same.
No, yeah. I mean, read the book, but you gotta practice. I mean,
Right.
you gotta take actions and face the process. But I don't think that it's necessarily, I wouldn't necessarily say it's correlated with age. Like, um, I would rather someone start when they're 28 in a healthy way and do this in a healthy way than start when
Hmm.
they're 20 or 15 and start in
Yeah.
an unhealthy way, because then we've got a lot of things we got to undo and unlearn, and lots of risk there.
Right.
Doing this when you're not ready and you don't have momentum and clarity on your life, and you're on a growth path in general on all dimensions, is really risky. It's really risky. Like part of this is a numbers game, but it's not only a numbers game. Like it's not just you. Like we said earlier, it's not just by dating 100 women you're gonna find one. It's not just like that. You could date 100 women and have 100 horrible experiences, have 100 scars, and now you're much further away from being in a healthy lifelong relationship than you were before you dated 100 women.
Right.
So
And there's a responsibility too that I think we can agree we want guys to take in dating. Like if you dated 100 women, and you could be scarred 100 times, but you probably scarred 100 different women.
true,
So you've
true.
got to be
Yeah,
emotionally ready for it, because you don't
yeah,
want to take the other person who's involved with you lightly and their experiences lightly, because sometimes it does turn off girls to the next guy, or guys in general.
yeah. And you got to be responsible. Like be responsible. Be a
Mhm.
Christian. Like do the right thing, and honor and respect everyone. Like
Yeah,
that's how we should live our lives, whether or not it's a dating context.
right.
Yeah.
And guys, when they're young, they have that kind of that hunger, that energy, and a lot of it's directed towards the financial, thing side of things. But if you were to put this in a hierarchy, don't would you rank it like in terms of when you're ready, like spiritually should be above, like emotionally above finances, or do you like how would you? Because you could be like not close to ready financially. You just not everyone's gonna be ready to support household, and a lot of our parents uh, they struggled together, right? The man and the wife, but
Yeah.
maybe they struggle together to support a home, but maybe the man is he's a man of God, and um, he's ready in that sense.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you think that points to like a hierarchy, or in terms of when you're ready?
Um. Well, you know, God created us as spiritual, emotional, sexual, physical beings. So I don't think that I don't think that we need to spend time prioritizing this stuff. Like all this stuff
Hmm.
has to be good.
Okay.
Like and please, like, to anyone who's in this process, I mean, um, be good on all dimensions.
Okay.
Like I don't think, yeah,
That's fair.
yeah,
That's fair. I only brought it up because sometimes see guys tell me, "No, I gotta do this and this," and it's all financial stuff first. So I know they're already great guys, but they're like, "I gotta get this job. I gotta buy a home. I gotta start this business. I got to, and all that stuff takes years and years, um, which
I mean,
which is
hey,
fair, which is
yeah,
fair.
sure. I
But
mean, hey, if you want to do that, do it. I mean, sure. Like,
okay,
sure. I'm not gonna. Because I also don't want like the goal in life is not to get married. I
Right.
mean, the goal in
It
life is
just I
to,
just it
yeah,
just shouldn't be a cop out. That's all I'm saying. It shouldn't be a cop out because you can always be building wealth, always be conquering the
true.
next thing.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
I tend to see that like because they want to keep dating, right? And they're
I mean,
just like,
if there's someone who's obsessed with work and making money,
hmm
I'd rather them not be dating. Anyway, like until they figure
yeah,
that obsession out, because they're not going to be present in the way that they need to be for a relationship.
hmm